Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Robin. This is my channel, Lady Robins. If you are a new friend and possibly subscriber, that would be awesome. Welcome to my channel. This is where we talk about my love of all things cross stitch. And if you're a returning friend and subscriber, welcome back. I'm very happy to have my returning viewers come back as well. Today is the 16th of May. And I am on the struggle bus. I am having a really hard time getting my stitching done. I'm making a complete muddle of the March Magazine Monthly Challenge. I don't think I've completed more than one of the challenges this month. It has been, there have been more, non-stitching days than stitching days, and it's the 16th of a month, so I need to figure out how to get myself back going. Because of that, I don't have tons to show you, but I do have a couple of things to talk about. So go get your beverage. I've got mine. I'm drinking tea, you guys. It is a blustery day here in the Pacific Northwest. I don't know what's going on. Yesterday we had beautiful sunshine, and I think that's part of my problem. I'm solar powered, and so when it's kind of blustery, sometimes I just can't get my stitching mojo going. So let me show you what I've got. This might be a little shorter video, but that's okay. I am trying really hard. I'm trying really hard to get back into doing it every 2 weeks. So I'm going to start with unstitching. Remember, I've been telling you forever that I made mistakes on Huckleberry Farm. So I just decided it's time to take out those stitches. And I think that's what my problem was, is I unstitched, and that's so unsatisfying that now I'm having a hard time getting back to stitching, because I pick up this piece and I'm like, oh, that was so not fun the last time I stitched on it. So here we are. Here is Huckleberry Farm, and you will notice that there used to be a little, I don't know if he's I don't know what creature this is that was here. I don't know if it was I don't think it was a squirrel. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But whatever that creature is, it was in the wrong place. So I took that out. The other thing that was wrong was this. This border is it needs to be further this way and shorter this way. I haven't done the unstitching on that. I want to get this anchored in and then fill in the alphabet. And then once I've got that, then I'll take out the few, you can see there's little triangles. I'll take out the few extra little triangles I have. So I just am having a dickens of a time getting back to this. Although I do have to tell you, I did get more of the border done. So I did get, I think when last we got together, I don't even know if I had that little chipmunk in there. I might have. So anyway, I got a little bit further down that side. So anyway, that is the sum total of stitching and unstitching that I did. And let me tell you, this unstitching took me like a day and a half. So hopefully I can keep myself on track. Really pay attention to the chart. Don't make assumptions. I'm sure, that's part of it. The other part of it is, I know a lot of times when I watch TV, and especially if I'm watching something I haven't watched before, that's when I notice I make mistakes. So I'm much better re-watching something. Even FlossTube can be too intriguing. The other thing, so after I got done unstitching Huckleberry Farm, my ye old crow, you guys, I have that down to finish it this month, this guy. And I had the pumpkin in, I had the crow all done, and then I looked at it. What had I done? What had I done? Well, you see how the head of the crow is centered under the Y? I centered it under the Z. So I had to completely take out the crow, and the beautifully stitched pumpkin. And so I'm back here. Oh, it's so disappointing. And I told my husband what I had done, and he looked at me and goes, how do you do that? And I'm like, yeah, that's a great question. I'd love to know. How do I do that? Oh my goodness. So I do not think Ye Olde Crow is going to get finished here in the month of May. There you have it. So my my March, can't get all the words right. The March monthly magazine challenge. Yeah, I'm not gonna hit my goals on the crow. Hopefully I can hit my goals on the other ones, but it's the 16th, you guys. It's the 16th. I'm so disappointed in my stitching. But something that I'm not disappointed in is my Jeanette Douglas garden box. I have been stitching on Tuesdays with my girlfriend Lynn. We get together and we stitch Jeanette Douglas's together for a couple of hours on Tuesday. And here is where I am. So this, I've actually made progress. I haven't had to take anything out. There's been no unstitching, no frogging, as we say. And so I think last time I didn't have any of the flowers or the stems done. And so I've got this side is complete, and then there's like one more little flower to go here, and then I've got to put the stems, and then, you know, this one needs to be completed. So that is really exciting, because then I will have the first portion of the little box all ready to go. So I'm very happy with my stitching on garden box. That has been a lot of fun. And normally I think of Jeanette Douglas as, you know, specialty stitches all over the place. This is all cross stitch. There's no specialty stitches. So if you're looking for a Jeanette Douglas piece to you know, kind of, dip your toe into the Jeanette Douglas world, this would be a really great one. This would be great. You know, the pieces, even though there's, you know, 4 different pieces, they're not that big. And, you know, the chart is well written. So I would say garden box might be the one for you to start with. Okay, the other thing that I stitched on, excuse me, oh, it's Cardinal Points. I'm looking at my bag and I'm like, what am I digging out? Cardinal Points. And I'm really happy with the progress that I have made on Cardinal Points. So I have, where I ended up concentrating was on the bottom band. And so the this little green, and then, you know, kind of the hatching inside the leaves, that that was all done since last we got together. And then the next thing I have to do is these little bits. They're like 6 stitches, but they're so far apart. I don't feel like I can, you know, carry the thread. So I'm gonna have to, you know, do the stitches, tie off, you know, do the stitches, tie off. I'm not gonna drag it, especially since it's white. I'm really cautious when I'm stitching on white thread. In fact, I don't really like to drag things. I think I've talked about this before. I don't like to carry things on the back. Like, you know, here you can see my back. I'm kind of a, I can remember somebody somewhere once said that the stitching on the front reflects the precision on your back. I remember that. And I know that there are no rules in cross stitching, and I don't necessarily believe that so much as I just worry about thread showing through to the front of the piece when you're finishing it, you know, be it a pillow or framing it or whatever. So that's why, you know, those 6 stitches, you know, all the way across, those will take me a bit of time, but that's okay. The end result will be worth it. So that's my stitching. My plans are, I'm going to adjust my monthly cross stitch goals at this point. I thought, you know, it's been so easy. I've given myself just such simple little goals that I'm sure to knock it out of the park. So May was the month I decided, okay, instead of just doing 100 stitches, which I know I can do, I upped everything to 200 stitches. And I don't know if that's part of my problem. I'm like, I don't know if I can do that. And then I had done stitch and so I'm having a little anxiety, and stitching is supposed to be fun. And so I'm going to adjust my board. I'm putting everything down to 100 stitches, just like I've been doing. And if I get more in, great, it'll feel great. But I'll just have the win of knowing that I can put a little check mark on my stitching. So that's what I've decided to do. Kind of like with Jessie Marie and her whip go. She's like, you know, my board, my challenge, right? And I decide the rules. And so I'm making up my own rules. That's what I'm doing. In the interest of lengthening this video, because we're at all of 11 minutes and we've already seen all my stitching, I did have a little purchasing. I could not, let me grab them. I could not hit purchase fast enough. If you have not seen the latest patterns by the Artsy Housewife, you are missing out, friends. You need to go and check her out. Lindy Stitches has all of her stuff. I showed this to my husband and he was like, oh yeah, you totally have got to stitch that for me. In fact, he always says that seagulls are his spirit animal. He goes, because, you know, they're not clean. They eat garbage. And they're kind of noisy and obnoxious. I'm like, honey, I don't think that describes you, but that's what he says. So this is on my my radar for a start soon, and I am gonna do it with the beach rat. They do give you both with the words and without, and you can do either one, but my husband definitely likes the words. So I'm toying with actually stitching it on an 18 count Aida, because it does look like it's Aida friendly. I normally stitch on linen, but I've kind of got a little bug to try an Aida. I haven't stitched on Aida in forever. I think part of it is when I started learning how to cross stitch back in the late 80s, all of the Aida kits, the Aida just felt terrible. It was scratchy and it, you know, it shredded your thread. It just wasn't fun to stitch on. So I know that Aida has come a long way. So I'm thinking I'm going to try. I've got an 18 ounce. I've got an 18 count Aida in my closet, and I might try it, you know, subject to change without advance notice, right? You know, I can start stitching and go, nope, don't like that. So if that happens, then I'll just restart it. But I think I'm going to give it a whirl. The other thing that I bought from Lindy Stitches is the Robin's Spring from Robin Pickins, and I adore this. And Helen D just did a tutorial on finishing. I don't think she showed finishing this one. I think she showed finishing the summer one, which is adorable. It's got a bluebird on it. It's really pretty. If you haven't seen that, you should go check out Helen's latest FlossTube. So anyway, those were the two things that that I have picked up and are on my list of things I want to stitch sooner as opposed to later. Tulips are my favorite flower. When my husband proposed to me, he was so cute. He had always heard it takes 6 months to plan a wedding. So he proposed to me in October, knowing that tulips bloom in April. And so October, 6 months later is April. That should be enough time. which was really kind of him to you know, set us up so we'd have to have a, you know, a June or July wedding, and I couldn't have my favorite flowers. And so it was, you know, it was great. We had tulips at our wedding. It was really great. They're not the best flowers for bridal bouquets, but my florist made it work. She was a miracle worker. I think of her fondly because she pulled off a miracle, because those things are floppy once they get cut. So anyway, those are my two purchases. The other thing that, again, I was inspired by Helen D, was to go through whips. And I have decided to UFO. Isn't that what we say? UFO, unfinished objects. I'm putting 3 things into my unfinished object pile. And I'll show you what they are. And it's not that I hate them. It's just that there are things I want to stitch more. And that's kind of been a theme with me lately, is there are things I want to do more. I think a lot of that stems from cleaning out mom and dad's house. I took boxes of books from their house, from their basement, that were mine. When I was a senior in high school, and then all through college, I worked at a B. Dalton bookseller. And so I had tons of books. And my parents have, like I told you, almost 4,000 square feet of house. And down in their basement, they had 3 beautiful bookcases. And I had all these, you know, faux leather bound books that back then you could buy on the bargain tables at B. Dalton. So I've got, you know, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, and, you know, fill in classic folks here, right? Anyway, so I had all these faux leather books, and when I moved, I said to Mom, well, I'll take my books. My mom goes, no, they can stay here. And I'm like, what? And she goes, are you going to read them right now? And I'm like, well, no, I'll read them eventually. And she said, well, they look so nice on my bookcases, and they kind of finish off this area of the basement. Can you just leave them for us? And I'm like, sure. So they've been over at my parents' house, you know, for 30 years at least. So I boxed up all those books, and then when I brought them here, I've only got so much bookshelf space in my living room, and I really had to do this or that. Do I want this more than that? If it's, you know, have I read it? No. Have I read this? Yes. But will I reread it? No. Keep this. So I'm kind of in that place where Helen's tutorial about going through her whips just hit me perfectly. And so I did go through my whips, and I found 3 things that, while I like them, there are things I want to stitch more, like Beach Rat. So I started Cranberry Christmas, and then I restarted it. And while I like it, there are things I want to stitch more, like Beach Rat. So that was one. I pulled the spools of Sulky out. I put them in my stash in my closet here. And I'm just like, I've got a ton of cross-stitched ornaments. Plus, I'm going to have 12 more when December comes, because I will have finished, knock on wood, those 12 days of Christmas. So, more cross-stitched ornaments are coming. And so I'm like, yeah, I want those 12 days of Christmas more than I want Cranberry Christmas. So I'm going to let that go. The other thing that I'm going to let go is, I know you're going to be like, what? This is the exclusive pattern for Acorn Gathering, which is, I think it's held in January at Acorns and Threads. And this was the 2021 gathering, so it was all remote. You could stitch the little squirrels with face masks on, or you could not. And it's got all the stuff in it. It's got the finishing, it's got the floss, there's the there's the linen. You can see my you know, like I actually got a fairly good start on it, but I just, you know, I just don't want to finish it because, again, there are things I want to stitch more. In that same vein, my sister, who knows that I am a science fiction freak, for Christmas one year gave me this, which is, you know, is like so kind of her. I love Star Wars. And I also love Star Trek. I just took 50 Star Trek paperbacks down to a used bookstore in downtown Kent. If you're in this area, you guys go check out Page Turner Books. When we had that deep freeze, the store space that they were in, the business above them, their water pipes burst, and it ruined over half of their collection. And so my dad, I can't believe it, when I was, like I said, when I was working at B. Dalton, I mean, I bought Star Trek novel after Star Trek novel after Star Trek novel, and unbeknownst to me, my dad boxed them all up in a box, and we found them when we were uncovering, you know, all this stuff in their basement. And here's this box of 54, which tells you what a big nerd I am, 54 original series Star Trek novels. So I called this place, it's called Page Turner Books in Kent, and I said, can I donate these to you? They're in perfect shape because I don't believe in bending the spine, and I will never dog ear a page. And the guy goes, we love Star Trek, bring them down. I brought him down. The guy said, thank you. He didn't even look in the box. And, you know, I wanted to stand there and talk about him forever. And he was like, oh, thanks, took the box, and off he went. I'm like, well, okay. But it felt good to give it to that business because a lot of these, well, I would assume all of them are out of print. They're things that you can't get anymore. So anyway, you know, so I'm destashing the Star Wars. So, because I am not going to finish it, any of those three, if you would like to claim these, I will mail it to you, but you need to be in the US. I just don't have, you know, I just don't have endless amounts of money to mail things out, and I hardly ever mail things. So yeah, put in a comment. If you want the Stormtrooper, say Stormtrooper. If you want the Acorn Gathering, say Acorn. And if you want Cranberry Christmas, say Christmas. Okay? So Christmas, Acorn, Stormtrooper. Okay? And I will send it in the US. So anyway, that's it, you guys. This is a fast and furious video, not because I'm rushing. It's just that I have, you know, like I told you, I have lost my stitching mojo. I'm hoping to find it shortly, but I do, like I said, I do want to get back to, you know, every couple of weeks. And so I thought, you know what? I've got a free half hour. I'm just going to do it. And there you have it. So I hope you guys are having a really good May. I hope your stitching bug hasn't flown the way mine has. So stitch happy, my friends. I will talk to you in a couple of weeks. Hopefully I will have more to show. So thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate all of you. I have not gotten to comments on the last video. That's on my list of things to do. Mom and Dad's house goes on the market today. And they're having an open house this weekend. So, yeah, that's a huge step. The worst part is we still have stuff in the garage. And according to the realtor, I don't know how this is a thing, but things have changed since we bought our house here. She said, yeah, we can just tell people it's a 2-car garage and they can, you know, peek in, but because there's personal possessions, you know, they can be told they can't walk through it. I'm like, what? How's that a thing? But according to her, it happens all the time, and so it's not unusual. Yeah, so we're still just trying to get the, you know, the last few dregs out of the garage. So there you have it. That's your life update. And retirement is still on track for the 1st of July. work will be just fine without me. I don't feel like I'm leaving them in the lurch. I think they'll be perfectly fine, and so will I. So it's a little scary though, right? Okay, I hope to see you again in 2 weeks. Stitch happy, and I will catch you on the next one. Okay, bye friends.